Apple Watch?
MacBook?
MacBook?
Yeah, the
Oh yeah, the MacBook. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I'm more excited about the Apple Watch.
The watch.
I've already started programming for it. Yeah.
Huh.
Got 3 programs already started.
I mean, they finally gave me a date, so
Yeah. Oh, did you already order? Did you pre-order? How much was
mine was. I did some funky stuff with like the bands and stuff. It's like $500.
it? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, they're pretty awesome. They're like really a lot lighter, a lot faster.
I gotta buy my wife one.
Oh, I'm sure.
I thought they were building them up to where they were quite a bit more expensive than that too.
Well, it depends on what you
do.
Yeah. What
You can get them very
I
expensive.
don't want a
Yeah,
rose gold one. I don't want the limited edition.
yeah.
Steve Jobs silhouette on the bottom of it.
The base cost is actually pretty good. It's pretty competitive right now.
Is it?
Yeah, the base cost is actually not too bad.
Yeah, it is. Compared to.
What was it? I thought it was like $300-400.
It starts at like three,
Mhm.
but like I want different. And they have 3 different like model sets. There's the basic, and there's the sport one, and then there's the watch edition, which is the more upscale one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why anybody wants to rose gold watch.
Is this
Well, cool.
to absolutely replace a smartphone then?
No, you need a smartphone for most of the apps to work. So, like to answer a phone call,
I've never looked at them.
answer a phone call, is one of them. The big thing with them is notifications, unique notifications with pressure sensitive on your skin, and then also for healthcare. One of the ones I'm working on is an app to keep heart rate reporting to doctors and physicians, to where you can wear it and they can. And then also another one is for elderly that are prone for falling down. Have an app to where when they do fall down, it'll alert healthcare within the region, wherever they might be located at, via an app. So tell them so and so's fallen down in room whatever.
Yeah.
So healthcare is what I'm big on, because Apple really, if you saw the demo, the rollout on the last week, it was all the stuff was cool. The watch was cool, all that stuff. But one thing I'm most excited about is the research. They have a research piece that they've rolled out for research, for medical research, and it's an open source research code base that any platform can use. Droid can use it, iOS can use it, and they've got 4 apps right now on the App Store: one for diabetes, one for heart disease, cancer, and then one other one. I can't remember what the other one is. But anyways, 4 free apps you can download, and you can participate in studies to help healthcare with making new medicine, finding new cures for diseases. And so I'm working on one with that as well, and that's Health Kit. That's able to download and start working with that. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was towards the end.
I would have definitely got on for the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have her problem. So.
Research Kit is what it's called. Research Kit. Yeah. Research Kit, and what's really awesome about it, what the buzz was that day, I think greater than the Apple Watch and the new MacBook, which are cool items, was the Research Kit being open source for everybody to use immediately that day.
I'm interested in
that was pretty awesome.
Apple's new Health Watch too.
Yep.
Is what I've been looking at. I've got the I'm a part of the development team for Apple. I just haven't done it.
Well, look up Research Kit, because one of the cool things I have too for Parkinson's, I have some friends of mine at Parkinson's, Michael J. Fox, you've heard of him, big proponent of finding a cure. Anyway, in the app for Parkinson's, what they do is they have a 2-finger thing that you tap the screen with your both fingers, and it can determine your level of Parkinson's. And then also they have a thing called Gait, where they walk in the office. They'll just watch you walk back and forth, and then the doctor kind of determines where you're at. Well, this app uses the accelerometer, and it has you walk 20 steps this way, 20 steps this way, and then it emails that information to your doctor, and it creates a report for you to know immediately where you're at with Parkinson's. And so stuff like that's kind of pretty awesome.
Are they
But
thinking that being able to have 24/7 coverage of what's going on with these patients will help to advance?
with these type of watches, oh yeah, for sure, definitely, yeah. Oh yeah, you could definitely do that.
Oh, that is cool.
You could definitely do that, and that's what I'm most excited about using them for anyway.
I'm taking a part of a course for the watch development
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to make apps for it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let me share with you some things tonight. The first thing is I changed the due date from tonight till Thursday on the uh, homework assignment that was from actually, I believe it was the risk assessment homework assignment take home that I gave you like the Thursday before we were on break. So if you didn't finish that up, don't worry about it. It's just a one page due Thursday. Also, Thursday is going to be your research paper night, started anyway. Tonight I'll help you with, we'll go over the topics again, go over some tips that I'll help you with on doing research and finding research the best way I know how to do it. Not the only way, but just one of the things I've done over the years that helps on research. But I wanted to touch base with a couple classes coming up in the summer. March 22nd at 9 p.m. registration starts for the summer and fall courses. I've been trying to get this for the last 2 years, a boot camp. Joe remembers when I taught iOS the first time, students were wanting like a boot camp type of course to teach kind of intermediate advanced level stuff in iOS for iOS apps. So the perfect one that fits my schedule and hopefully a lot of students' schedule is a Saturday, 4 Saturdays in May. Well, it's actually starting, it's May 23rd, May 30th, June 6th, and June 14th, four Saturdays, and it's from 7:30 to like 1:30 in the afternoon, 7:30 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon. I'll provide pizza for whoever registers, and the topics we're going to cover is on the first Saturday is game basics with Sprite Kit. iOS has a brand new Sprite Kit they just updated for iOS 8. We'll create a point and shoot game with shooters and enemies. Is one of the games that we'll create. We'll also create like a drop, kind of a Tetris type of game that Saturday. And then maps with MapKit. We'll create a driving directional map using pinpoints and GPS. A couple screenshots of some maps I'm working on. This app actually is, it pinpoints local crime in the area using local open source databases that'll determine crime within the Rockford region. And it'll pinpoint it on a map, all open source stuff. June 6th, backend database using parse.com and core data. We'll create a chat messaging app using Facebook login API and parse.com. I'm also working on one here. It's kind of like a note app, but you'll be able to log into it and then log into other devices and share it to other users. And then here's an interface of showing how you can log in via Facebook and then do a messenger type of app. And then the last Saturday, we're going to focus on video recording using OpenTalk and built-in video hooks within iOS. And we're going to create an app. One of the apps I gave a screenshot here was the one from last semester. A student actually created. I helped create most of the template for it. But basically, you've heard of video apps where you can take a video, right? But this one adds another feature where you can apply different filters, like 12 different filters to the video. So I took one in class here tonight with the app, and I applied a grayscale filter to this room, and then here's the results of that grayscale. And then you can also share this video on Facebook there's a button at the bottom of it to share it. So we'll do that one together as well. It took a while to create that tutorial, so I thought it'd be a cool one to end on because everybody's likes to do filters. It does a pencil filter, sketch filter, colorized filter. It does grayscale. So a whole bunch of like 12 different filters it'll do. And so kind of a cool app to learn how to use. And they're kind of intermediate advanced type of apps. Now, the question has been asked is, can these apps be created by somebody with zero Sprite or Swift code experience? And Swift is a language used in iOS, and the answer is yes, definitely, because it's a brand new language. The code base you'll be using you'll be given to in a 3-ring binder, and all the tutorials will be in there along with any data you need on a DVD, like images and stuff like that. And so you technically could create this or finish this course, 4-week course, and get get your feet wet quickly with iOS development and the new Swift language, which I know Joe had Objective-C. Swift is much easier to learn than Objective-C. as far as for a new developer, and that's why Apple developed it for new developers. But so you're learning right alongside myself and all developers because the language just came out last summer, and so it's fairly new, very new, and so it's the same concepts of Objective-C, but much easier to learn and to digest than Objective-C. An example would be a function in Objective-C to just do a message box, a pop-up message on the phone, right? Just a simple pop-up message. In Objective-C, it takes about roughly 125 to 150 characters of code, right? About 5 or 6 lines of code. Within Swift, you can do it within about 10 to 12 characters and 1 line of code. And so that's just one example. There's tons of examples like that. But the other cool thing with Swift is gaming development for those, and that's really the bigger pull here for most developers. They want to learn how to make a game. Sprite Kit, they now have an iOS. Xcode is much more richer than it's ever been. In fact, when I first started developing a mobile app platform, there was no Sprite Kit built in to Xcode. You had to use third-party plugins and third-party 2D plugins to render a game platform. But those days are gone. And so if you're interested or if you have questions, come and see me before you leave. I'd like to get about 10 students. That'd be awesome. If I get 10 students, I plugged it for my 280 class I'm teaching this semester, and I've got probably about 6 or 7 that says that they raise their hand saying they're interested and they want to take it. So if I could get 4 or 5 more, that'd be awesome. That would be a good number, I think, for a boot camp class. 10 would be perfect. And we're going to be meeting down in the Mac lab. I know it's early, but we'll start out slow in the morning. It won't be like I won't be having to do a whole bunch of junk the first hour.
What's the time?
It's from 7:30 in the morning till 1:30 in the afternoon. Yep. And I'll provide afternoon pizza or whatever each Saturday, so you don't have to leave and then come back. All right? Questions? It's 4 credits, Joe. 4 credit hour. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I might be wrong. I believe it's 4 credit hours. I'm trying to remember. 3, 4, 6.
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
I think it is 4. Yeah, I had to do a 4 credit for that one. No textbooks required. Beneficial if you had a Mac, but if you don't, we have Macs downstairs you can use. And we will be playing with a little bit. So I'm included in this boot camp because it's so new, but I'm going to have some additional tutorials for creating an Apple Watch app. Some stuff I've been doing just to kind of throw it in there so you'll have an example anyway of what it can do. All right, questions on that? And then also the second session, summer session 2, I'm offering this is my second time or third time offering this one. It's a marketing and publishing mobile apps. It's online. And that one focuses on course topics. What is mobile marketing? Why market your app? Methods of marketing an app. Stages of Apple developer registration. Preparing app for publishing app to the Apple Store, and post-marketing and tools to track downloads and sales. And so we'll be using in that class apps that I have on the App Store and some things I've learned submitting apps to the App Store and real-world scenario things, just ups and downs with submitting stuff to the Apple App Store because they do change quite often on the requirements. And so because of that, whoever takes this class, you get the newest and greatest Apple marketing that they want you to create for their apps. And basically, what they really look at the most is not your code, is your icons and the name of your app. It's got to be perfect. It's got to really look nice. And then the reason I focus so much on marketing, on post-production, a couple weeks on that, it's actually a week and a half on that, is your app can be pulled from the App Store if you market your app incorrectly on websites or blogs without using the proper icons from Apple, like the buy now, buy on Apple iTunes, things like that. So I'll go over some things like that to help you and give you all the code you need for that and the images you need and all the good stuff. So again, if you have any questions, come see me, or you can go to cconkle.com, and I've also got it posted, I think, on Facebook as well. So this week, we're going to be covering tonight on what your research paper topics are and some tips to help you get started on research. But won't go over the podcast for Thursday. I'll let you do that on Thursday, which is a little Prezi podcast. But I'm going to go over some tips on how to create an outline, a real quick outline, and then how you can start your research. Hopefully you get at least your outline created Thursday and begin researching something. If nothing else, get the outline created. That'd be awesome. So that'll be a big chunk of a big help for you. So I'm going to click on this research topics.
Quick question for you.
Yes.
For the Chapter 8 stuff, is that supposed to be changed to today's date?
I already mentioned that when everybody came in. It's changed to Thursday.
Okay.
Changed to Thursday on the take-home that you guys did.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so let's go over the research paper topics. The paper here that goes over the requirements for the paper itself. 5 to 7 pages in length, illustration of bibliography, excluding bibliography and illustrations. 1-inch margin all the way around except for the top, 1.5. Double space, single space for long quotes. Font size, 10 to 12 point. Time New Roman or Courier or something in that family of fonts. Illustrations welcome if of good quality. And the way I judge good quality is if you think you could use it after you do the research paper, it's good quality. If you think you wouldn't use it, then don't use it in the paper. Okay? If it's useful to you, then it's going to be useful to me when I read the paper. So, and other students, because everybody will give access not only to your presentation on the night, but they will all have access to your papers as well to help with that research. And so, cover sheet is optional. You don't need it because you're going to be emailing it to me the night of your presentation. Binders, you don't need either. We'll look at the topics here in a second, skim over them real quick. But the first thing I want to talk about is attribution. Basically, that is all the works and illustrations that you use in your paper. Make sure and give credit where you found it. And if you fail to give credit, it's called plagiarism, and get a 0. I haven't had to get anybody to 0 because in this class, when you read your tech articles or your books, just tell me where you found it from. And even if you didn't quote anything, you probably got a lot of information from multiple different areas. You can put those as a resource. And I don't require you, by the way, within your paper. So an example would be, say you read an article online, but you didn't really quote anything, but you used some of the content for your research. That would go in the attribution, the works cited page. Okay, you wouldn't have to technically have it numbered anywhere in your document, because students always ask, do you want the quote or whatever numbered and then footer at the end, or do you want it at the very end of the document? I'd like it at the end of the document, and Word has a real nice way of doing the numberings for your citations. I recommend using that, and then pushing it to the end of your document. And if you use Word to do that, it's going to be a lot easier as you're going through your attributions. And then citing sources, you have 2 types of sources: works used and works consulted. I've already talked a little bit about works used. This is a source material used to provide substance to your project. And then works consulted, you probably look at a lot of sources before locating. They deserve credit. And these sources can actually be people, not just magazines or online resources, books. They can be people you work with in networking, other students, faculty, people you've talked to in networking. And so you can name, Joe that works at ABC company, help me, and you want to make sure that you put them in your paper at the end. And then MLA, I put a link here to the MLA guideline. I'm not a real stickler on that. It might just help you if it's been a while since you've done a research paper, because in that link it gives some really good examples of what a research paper looks like, both from the works cited standpoint, and then also how you do indentions on quotes and things of that nature. So if it's been a while since you've done one, it's well worth looking at that MLA, because in the MLA link there, it'll give you a lot of resources to help you. Goals: display your research and deliver information as a career school. Career presentation ideas are welcome. Use your imagination. Develop public speaking skills. You have stage fright, it's the best way to overcome it. I've had a number of students over the years that have major stage fright, and they've stood up here and did the best they could. And afterwards, they've always said they were, appreciative that they got a chance to do it. They did much better than they thought they would. And so, play the part of instructor. Instructing others will be part of your career. Oddly enough, some people even enjoy teaching, so you might fall in love with it. You never know. But regardless, you're always going to be training somebody in IT to do something, whether it's one person or 5 people or whatever. And so, format for your presentation now. But before we get into that, switching from research paper to presentation, I want your presentation to be a glimpse of your research paper. Highlight glimpse, kind of like the preview of a movie. In the preview of a movie, they give you the best stuff, right, in the preview, and then we go to the movie, you're like, that was it? The 1 minute preview is the best part of the movie, and that's all they show. Well, that's what you want your presentation to be, right? The best part of your research paper. It's only going to be 10 minutes to 15 minutes in length, which is very quick. If you have an intro slide, a conclusion slide, which you need to have, and then 8 or 10 slides in the middle, easy 10 to 12 minutes right there.
What was the name of that, the cartoon you told us about, QuickTunes or?
Oh, Powtoon.
Powtoon.
Powtoon, yeah. Yeah, Powtoon. And you can use that too if you want to for your presentation. That'd be kind of awesome to do that. They have some really cool tools to use in there. They have a feature in Powtoons called Slideshow. Well, I'd recommend using it if you want to try it out. It creates a nice little slideshow, kind of like PowerPoint. But you have a lot of cool animations you can bring into it. Time your presentation. Students always kind of think, oh, I have 12 slides. I'll be done in 5 minutes. And like 10 minutes into it, I'm going, 2 minutes. Because, they're only halfway through. And so it's good to, even if it's not just, if you don't want to do it in front of your family or friends or whatever, just do it by yourself at night when everybody's asleep or early in the morning or whatever, and just kind of go through the presentation real quick and kind of see how long it might take and time yourself with your phone or whatever you want to do. Visual aids are welcome. You can use the whiteboard if you want to, handouts if you want to. And on the handouts, just like with the illustrations in your paper, if it's something that you would use after the presentation, then we want it. And so an example would be a student a couple semesters ago created a 1-page handout on 3 steps to set up a secure Wi-Fi with graphics and a whole bunch of cool stuff. And so it's informational links and stuff like that. And so that would be something real informational that would help everybody and be lasting value. Topics, we already went over that. But this one part I want to mention here is try to create something that the class can use as a later reference because that's important. Topics, you've already chose your topics. You give me your topics. I won't go over those again. But let's talk about closing your presentation. When you're finished with the presentation, you want to make sure and ask the courtesy question, are there any questions? And usually you put a question mark at the end on the end slide or something like that, or ask the question, is there any questions? That will be helpful. If there is questions that you know the answer to, tell them. If you say, I don't know, say, I don't know. If you want to find out and get back to them later, that's fine. It's up to you. But definitely close your presentation. And I want to make mention as well in the research paper link, going back one, there is a PowerPoint example here I will go to. This is a WLAN PowerPoint presentation example. It's a template basically to show you. I'll just go through them on the left side here. This is on WLAN home security by Arthur Walters. It goes over, unsecure networks, network stealing, war driving, internet threats, router setup, types of WLAN, other methods, internet growth, conclusion, and that's it. Okay, so let me help you real quick on your outline. Here's what I want you to do, or for Thursday anyway. is you want to create an outline. That's the objective, hopefully, for Thursday for you. And you want at least 6 to 8 points. 6 to 8 points you're going to cover in your outline, okay? And let's go and talk about like an easy one, like say network security for Wi-Fi network security. And so we can start out with, you know, if you do like a biographical presentation, which is, you know, a timeline type of thing of where it started, where it's at now, where it's going type of thing. So we'll do that as an example. So if we did one on, let's see, we'll do one on just for kicks here. History of Wi-Fi, all right? So basically what you're going to do is, and you can do this actually will help you with not only your paper, but it's going to help you with your presentation as well. And so history of Wi-Fi, we can come up with the first one, which is, you know, the beginning. In the beginning, and then you note, you know, famous characters in the beginning, people who started it, things like that. And then you can touch base with, after that, the technologies maybe of Wi-Fi, touch base on those, and then go into the kind of the hang-ups of Wi-Fi at the beginning, some successes, technologies, hang-up successes, then I'm going to go into present, and then finally future, and then lastly conclusion. So there's my outline that I did in like a minute. And you can take your topic and do the same thing, and you're just coming up with off the top of your head of what you already know about the topic. You know, the little you do know maybe about the topic, you can come up with that information, things that is of interest to you about why you chose a topic. That's a good one to start, a good point to start with. And you can find, at least with what I just mentioned, you can find at least 6 to 8 points of why you're interested in this topic and make your outline. A biographical is always an easy one to go with because it's biographical. You can historically find things. But it could also be, you know, a step-by-step thing. You could do a step-by-step research paper of how to do something. You can do that as well. You can focus in on one item on that research and narrow it down to say, I want to focus only on the weakness of web security in my paper and presentation. That's it. That's all I'm going to focus on. And I'm going to hammer away at 8 to 10 points of those weaknesses and cover only that. That's all I'm going to do. And then what's great about this is you take this outline and begin gathering your research outline by outline, point by point, and you're going to use mostly, I'm guessing, the web to find information. But you might find some in magazines, might find people, things of that nature. Web, magazines, people, as an example. And so as you're gathering material, though, the one thing I will help you when you're doing your paper is just gather it. So outlines 1, 2, gather information from the outline. And this is important here, gather. You're not putting it in order or anything right now. You're just gathering information. It's kind of like when you go to the store and you go up and down the aisles to get stuff. You're not worried about, hopefully, okay, I'm going to put this in the cart in the order I want it to go on the conveyor belt when I check out. You don't think of that way, right? You're just gathering stuff, right? Wherever you start, you grab maybe start produce and work your way over to dairy, whatever. You're just gathering stuff. So when you're gathering stuff, what I suggest is you can create a folder. This is what I've done in the past. Create a folder for each outline point. So each point, create a folder. And then when you find information, you can go ahead and create a new document for each item, for each bit of information. And then I like to keep a separate document, just one document separate, that's going to get where it's coming from. You know, like the where and when, the where information for my bibliography at the end, my works cited stuff at the end. And so when I'm gathering information from the web, magazines, or people, I create a folder. Let's say I call it in the beginning, the folder name, and then I create a new document for every web article, magazine article, person I talk to, a separate document within the folder. And then I create a, let's call it a separate sheet, which could be a document, that's going to have on there listed all of your works cited stuff. And the way I do it is on the works cited that I'm keeping the sheet of, I just one document called works cited, I call it works cited, and what I'll do is I'll have over here the different points. I'll just number one, whatever it is, was in the beginning, and then all of the resources. Number two in the beginning, all the resources. If you want to get real technical, you can give all the resources and maybe the name of the document that you named that you saved in that folder to be easier to remember when you go back. So when you're collecting data, that's all you're doing is collecting data point by point, and that can take some time. But don't worry about putting in any organization at this point. So let's say you finish all points here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. I finished all of them in my research. Say it takes me a couple weeks to do, all right, to get all the research done. And you will have more information than you need for your paper. That's going to happen, all right? But one nice thing about doing it this way is you're exact in the information you've gathered. And then you can go back in and begin putting your paper together, going into each folder for each point and looking at all the stuff and going, okay, out of all this, I like this document that I collected on point 1. And on point 2, I like this document, so on and so forth. Or it might be a mixture of documents that you like and you pull information from. But the great thing about it is you have all this information saved. You don't have to remember where was it at, did I bookmark it on my browser. If you do it this way, it's going to help in the end. Does that make sense? By collecting your data first. So you collect your data, outline, gather information. Number 3, I'll put conclusion down here. Number 3 is when you start organizing it. Organized information, number 3, and this is where you're pulling information in into the certain segments on your paper. So an example is this. I'll just do little snapshots here of pages. Okay, we'll just make it easier here. So I'll have 6 pages here, 6 little pages. I'm going to number each page, and each page I'm going to devote at least one page to each outline point, at least one page, which will be more than enough for what I'm going to need for my paper, which is 6 to 7 pages. So 1 page of information. I'm going to start just dumping data into each one of these pages. When I fill this page 1 up, I'm going to go to page 2 and dump data on my second folder, which is technologies. Fill it up, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. After you fill in all your pages, then you go back into each page and then reorganize it to make it, make sense, basically. Put everything together. Because initially you're going to have maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs on page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6. Each one of those paragraphs are going to have information about where you found it, maybe, or not, because you already have that information on the separate sheet. And then when you go back and flesh things out, you're not going to use, like I said, everything that you researched. And you're going to word a lot of the stuff in your own words, right? There might be 1 or 2 quotes out of the whole paper that you actually use. 1 or 2 quotes you're like, actually, oh, I'm using that. That's a good quote. Most of it's going to be, information you've read online or in a magazine or you've talked to somebody, and you kind of put it in your own words, in your own logic. Does that make sense? So, you finish your paper up. You got end up with a conclusion at the end. Let's say this page 7 is a conclusion page to end it up. And then also you've got your works cited page at the end of that, which you already have that work done for you over here on the separate document you kept all throughout the whole session. And that's how you do your research paper. Now, what's great is the same outline you use to do the research paper, you can then use that very same outline to be the titles of slides in your PowerPoint. The titles. And then in each title, what I recommend is, and this here's for the paper, for your research paper, or for your presentation, research paper. Presentation. Bring in your outline. It's going to be converted to your titles. And then within each title, you're going to devote no more than 4 points, 4 bullet points, no more than 4 bullet points. So you can make your font pretty good size for that. There'll be some slides, maybe that'll just be an image or video too, that you got to realize. There could be some slides that might have some video, put in your image or images, all right, as illustrations and stuff like that. So title, 4 points per slide. You might have video on some slides only, images on some slides only, or maybe images plus text on some slides as well. So you put all your titles, create, what I suggest is at least 2 slides per outline topic, except for the conclusion. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 slides out of this. And I forget my title slide up here at the top. So it'll be 14 slides totally. All right, so 14 slides. And so I get my 2 title slides per bullet point or per outline, put my 4 points in there. And I get my 4 points. The reason I want to mention this is you want to get your 4 points from the meatiest and juiciest stuff out of each thing that you research. Now, here's an idea to help you. You might want to use something in your paper or not use something in your paper, but you want to use it in your presentation. You can definitely do that. Only thing is you want to make sure is on your paper to make sure and put it as a source and works cited. Does that make sense? So it might be something you're like, that's pretty cool. I have to think about it. I don't want to put it on my paper, but I'm going to put this in the presentation. You can definitely do that, right? So all the work you did on gathering will still be useful, even though maybe you didn't use it in the paper. It's still going to be over here in your creation stuff. And so outline the titles, title all your bullet points, and then finally ending up on conclusion, wrapping it up. What I recommend is, before the conclusion even, is I like to do like a recap of what you covered, maybe a slide before, and then conclusion. Because I've heard in speech class to tell you a good speech includes, telling your audience what you're going to tell them what you told, what you're going to tell them, then say, here's what I just told you, and then conclusion. So that's pretty simple. You tell the audience what you're getting ready to tell them in the first few slides. You go through and tell it to them. Then the very last slide next to conclusion, you go, here's what we just covered, summation. That's the last slide. Boom. No big detail on the last slide, just kind of a highlight of what you covered. And a lot of times too on the recap, you can wean out stuff on your recap that was kind of boring up here maybe, that you don't want to recap again. You can leave it out. You don't have to include it in there if you don't want to. You don't have to include it. And then finally, conclusion. So research paper, outline, gather information, organize information. Got to put down over here, edit, and finalize too. On the edit and finalize piece of your research paper, I do recommend getting a reader to help you. Just somebody that can read your paper. Because you'll put stuff in there that you understand, but nobody else understands. I do the same thing when I was doing law papers. I still write quite a bit, so it's helpful to get somebody to look at your paper, and they'll say, what does this mean? Did you mean this? Yeah, I meant that. Well, I thought you did, but you might want to reword it to say this, just to help you. You all have friends who are probably better at English than you are and better at papers than you are. These are the people you want to call upon, right? I have people I know, I can give them stuff and they'll mark it up and edit it and help me out. You have those same type of people. Give them your paper, let them mark it up, make whatever correction or suggestions that they want. That's going to be the last thing, kind of wrap it up in a bow before you're done. Does that make sense? And then, once your paper's done and completed, then and only then you'll start your presentation. With your presentation, you can use the Powtoon that I recommended in here, powtoon.com. You can use Prezi.com, which is a cool presentation tool, totally free. By the way, these are both free. You can use PowerPoint. You can use OpenOffice, or they don't call it OpenOffice now. What is it, Joe?
Well, I don't know, but y'all make Google Slides.
Yeah, Google Slides. I had mentioned that. Let me put that in there. Not open. It used to be OpenOffice. They changed the name. Can't remember. I've got it on my Mac. I don't know. Anyway,
Apache?
what is it?
Apache's who makes it. I
Yeah.
thought it's still open office.
It looks like
Is it still OpenOffice?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
I'm gonna put that down.
LibreOffice, too.
It is totally free too, but you guys do get Office free now. So if you want to use PowerPoint, you can do that. Google Slides. So yeah, those are your options. If you've not looked at Prezi or Powtoon, it'd be worth looking at for just a moment or two to see what's been done. Pretty cool stuff you can do with that, and be a different platform. Oh, the other one I want to mention is video. You can actually do video, like FaceTime, Skype type of video. You can do that as well. If you choose to do that, just let me know beforehand, like now, before you leave. I'm thinking about maybe doing that. I did have a student in this class that did it last semester. He did I think I mentioned to you guys, he did the mobile security. He looked at a Droid phone and an iOS iPhone and looked at the security weaknesses and strengths of both phones. He went into Wi-Fi security, App Store security, and covered both the weaknesses and strengths of both platforms. And went into antivirus on both platforms as well. And did it from home in his basement using Skype. It was about a 15-minute presentation.
So he didn't come to class?
Didn't come to class.
Oh, okay.
Did it from home. Didn't come to class. And so that is an option to do. The thing was with that one is you probably have to prep a little bit more than coming in here, but he enjoyed it. And we tested it the week before to make sure he knew how to use the app. He used Skype, I believe. And it worked great. Worked really good. So as an option, you can do that. Questions on research paper or presentation? Did it help you? Did any of this help you tonight? Okay. Because these are just some things I've learned over the years on doing research paper and presentation. Beating my head against the wall as a student, trying to do it my way, which I still try to do a lot of times, just like you. And still I want you to do it your way, but maybe these tips will help you a little bit kind of organize the research paper and presentation. And again, these are a lot of tips, a lot of these come from, all these come from doing multiple research papers in college. And if you follow these steps, it's going to help you a lot. I guess, for most of you that work full time or even part time, you don't have a lot of time. So, family, this will help you have a little bit more time maybe. And because, when I first started doing research paper years ago in college, I would just start researching and with no outline. And then a month later, I have just a whole bunch of stuff and literally nothing written up, right? Nothing, zero. And like, oh man, what am I doing wrong? And so then went back to, okay, create an outline like your English teachers told you to do your whole life, right? Do the outline thing, gather information, then do the presentation. Helped a lot doing it that way. Well, hopefully it helped you log up for you tonight. On Thursday, when you come to class, make sure, or not come to class, on Thursday when you stay home, watch the little Prezi I put together. This kind of goes over some more tips to help you on research paper and presentation. Oh, and by the way, since it's a Prezi, you can kind of get a look at what a Prezi is and what it does. How many's used a Prezi before? You've seen a Prezi presentation before?
I just watched the one on YouTube
Okay.
like a second ago.
Okay, it's pretty awesome. It's real easy to learn too. I've given it to people that knew nothing about it beforehand and say, hey, try this on your next presentation. When I say people, I'm talking like CEOs that are really hard to teach anything, right? They pick it up easy. They're like, oh, okay, great. What's great about Prezi is if you find a Prezi you really like, some of the effects, you can copy it, you use it for your own account. It'll copy it over to your own account and then just tweak it to your heart's desire. You can do that as well. So that's really nice. Yeah, so you can find a really, no, it's not cheating. No.
Okay, it's whatever.
It's your content. It's your content. You're just copying the little hooks and stuff they have in there.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not cheating. Every great invention is a copy of some other great invention. Right? And so yeah, I give you full authority to copy a Prezi and then, but it's gonna be your data. I don't want you to copy a Prezi, put your name at the top and you're done. Okay? So make sure it's your Prezi, your information. Question.
I just wanted to address the class.
Sure, definitely. Yeah, go ahead, come on up. Yeah, definitely.
During spring break, my neighbor fire. So it kind of put us, me and my wife and my son, out to they check the whole building and so we're actually in the hotel.
Okay.
And neither of us could get until this Friday. I was looking to know if anyone donate anything to help us pay for our hotel.
Sure. I'll go to ATM right now and get you something to help you. So hang back and I'll definitely help you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's kind of